Welcome back to the Stone Zone, right here in the Roger Stone Show, because I myself received a presidential pardon in a classic case of lawfare, government overreach, corrupt prosecutors, a biased judge, a biased jury forewoman, a rigged jury, withheld exculpatory evidence by the grace of God and through the power of prayer and the will of President Donald Trump. I was spared what I think was probably been a lonely death in a dank Georgia prison. But because of that, many people who are themselves the target of lawfare, who are themselves the target of governmental overreach and prosecutorial corruption and political trial, reach out to me for help and advice. Chris Mazzei and his wife, Erin, are two such people. Chris has been with us in the Stone Zone before. Their story is outrageous. It's as outrageous as it is heartbreaking. And Chris joins us now. Chris, welcome back into the Stone Zone.
Thanks for having me, Roger. And I hope next time I can come on, it's under better circumstances. But we got to keep fighting here.
Yes, indeed. Never give up. That's one of the lessons of my mentor, one Richard Milhouse Nixon. In my view, what you have is a textbook case of weaponized prosecution. Chris and his wife took out a PPP loan during the pandemic to produce a TV series called Ohana about organized crime and government corruption in Hawaii, following written legal guidance from a loan originator that could have used projected payroll figures to qualify, something that was very standard in traditional SBA programs. They weren't hiding anything. It turns out almost 90% of the loan was either repaid or had never even been used before they were charged and sentenced. Yet, instead of working with the family to get to the truth, prosecutors in Hawaii came after both of them for the headlines. Federal prosecutors not only seized their assets a full year before charges were filed and forced their home into foreclosure, but then they went further. They actually threatened to criminally charge Chris's 78-year-old mother if they didn't accept a plea deal or if they insisted that exculpatory evidence be submitted to the court. That's not justice, that's coercion. But it didn't stop there. Just 10 days before the Mazzeis were sentenced, federal agents showed up at the foreclosure auction that the prosecutor had forced, and they were bidding on the family's property that had over $1 million in equity, using the very funds seized from Chris and his wife for the bid. Same government that framed them. This is just as far as trying to profit off the home they took from the family. So this is what I mean when I say weaponization, and this is what it looks like in real life. Erin has already been sent to prison, has done her time. Now the family faces Chris's upcoming surrender date on August 20th. Today, Chris is back to give us some updates on his continued fight before he loses his voice and to explain why he's urgently asking the president for a pardon that would finally bring true justice to the family. So, Chris, last time we talked, your family had already been through hell. Now you're staring at an August 20th surrender date. How is that deadline hanging over your home, your family, your kids, your life today?
Hey, Roger, it's a bunch of different emotions, obviously. I mean, you went through something similar. Just the roller coaster ride of a prosecution or a persecution, in my opinion. But the stuff recently going on, part of me, some days I wake up and I feel defeated, but then I have that poster in our house hanging in our living room of your quote. You're not, about being defeated, and it's not over until you quit. So
that's right, exactly
I think of that every day. So that's what kind of gives me the motivation to continue this fight, even though the clock is ticking a lot faster now because we're under a month. But I mean, right now, just in general, our family's got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, we're literally in the process of moving as we speak, because we need to move to a new house. But then, I mean, our oldest son, who's been dealing with anxiety ever since Aaron got taken away, there's milestones coming up. He's starting high school. He's literally starting high school, I think, 2 days before I go in. And then, your freshman year of high school, you're going to learn to drive. Like, those things I'm going to miss out on teaching him. So that's where the emotion comes in, and it kind of breaks my heart that this is going to happen. And he, unless somebody steps in, at this age, we have 2 boys, and at this age, they need their dad. I mean, I built up this, when Aaron was gone, tremendous relationship with them. I was trying to keep life as normal as possible, and would still take them on trips to Disneyland or SeaWorld, or just let's go to the zoo, let's go to the beach. Like, so we built this bond. And even for Luca, our oldest, when he was going through the anxiety, like, there was times I had to pick him up from school because he thought he was, he was 13 at the time, and he thought he was having a heart attack, because the anxiety overtakes your body. And that, I was able to get him through that, and then we were able to get him help. But that bond that was generated over this past year and a half while Aaron was gone, like, is now going to be ripped away from him. And my youngest son, Nico, as well. So there's a lot of emotions, and it's, as you know, like, Aaron was on home confinement the last time we were on, and then she got that monitor off, and we've been able to kind of feel like a normal family, bits and pieces here. Like, we did take them on little mini vacations because she still can't travel outside of California unless she gets written permission from the court. But there are days where it felt like it was our life before 2020, and then there's just that lingering cloud that kind of comes back in. You're looking at the weather report, and it's like, oh yeah, like, this isn't over yet. Like, we still have this, this horrible cloud hanging over us, and it's not ending yet.
I'm completely familiar with it. My family and I lived with 2.5 years of it. We had to hear virtually every week on CNN a leak, of course, no official announcement, a leak that my arrest was imminent and that I was a Russian traitor. You should try that out for a while. It is. I do think that you have done the one thing that I urge others to do, and that is you have spoken out about the situation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but nobody lost money here. In other words, there may have been some clerical errors, but everybody was made whole. Correct?
Yeah, up to almost 90%. And to be honest, if they wouldn't have done what they did to our house, everybody would have been made whole. Like, because I could have easily pulled out cash from the house they took and tried to profit off of in a foreclosure sale. I mean, we had over $1 million of equity at that time. And I mean, that other 10% could have been paid back, but even attorneys were telling us we were still eligible for the PPP. It was just the advice from this loan originator saying to use projections. It was an inflated amount. So we were still, if they would have given us the correct information, we were probably still entitled to a majority amount of that loan. But from their errors, and we kept bringing that up, and the AUSA did not want to hear it. I mean, he had his target. I don't think he wanted to go for the bigger fish. He wanted the low-hanging fruit to, just have another win under his belt. So
I've seen this in many, many occasions. There is not much mercy or much reason in this case, victimless financial crime, where I think, based on advice that you got from a professional, appears that financial errors were made, but there was no intent to defraud here, and nobody lost money. They would have lost no money had they not seized your only asset. It has to be particularly difficult, your wife having now gotten out of custody as you going in. It had to be hard enough for you to see her incarcerated and then on home confinement. But how is she dealing with this, putting the boys aside?
It was an adjustment. I mean, as you know, I think you kind of helped boost some posts when we were trying to get her approved to go to Washington, D.C. for the weaponized watch event that was on June 11th, and she literally only got off her ankle monitor on the 8th, and her probation officer said no, not at all. And then I threw out a Hail Mary pass, and the judge actually emergency approved it, which I was completely shocked. Even my attorney, Bill Shipley, said, I don't think he's going to approve it. I know Judge Seabright. And the judge actually did something honorable. But, I mean, that was the first time she was in D.C. 3 days after being stuck at home for almost 2.5 months. It was an adjustment just being around people, especially in that kind of environment. So it's been an adjustment, but every day is better. And, she's worried. I mean, she doesn't want me to go in. I mean, we own our own business. And before this all happened, before she went in, we kind of had our own roles. I was doing this amount of stuff. She was doing more of the back end work, the bookkeeping, marketing, all that stuff to grow the business. And now there's stuff she's going to have to do that I don't even know if she can physically, because it does take physical strength. And, there is a difference between a male's body and a female's body. So there is that issue at hand that we're trying to figure out right now before I go in. But I mean, like I said before, some days feel like we're back to our normal family. And I told her when she was gone, you're married, besides maybe taking trips to DC, you're used to your wife, waking up to your wife, going to sleep to your wife. I mean, Aaron and I give each other a kiss every night, hold hand in bed while we watch TV, just to relax. Like, that was gone. That's something that you don't think of as being the person on the outside, is that day to day. I mean, I would find myself just talking to myself during the day because I didn't have her, because we have a unique relationship where we are kind of always together because we work together, and then we're best friends. Like, we love each other. And it's when that's gone, you don't think about that when you're on this side. And it's even worse, when you're went through what she's went through and what I'm about ready to go through, being in a bunk bed that, nobody would ever want to sleep on, and you're around no family except for a couple phone calls a week. So it's definitely an adjustment that we're trying to go through as strong as possible.
Well, in Bill Shipley, you have a very fine lawyer, one of the best lawyers. You could not have a better advocate. We're going to have to take a quick break here, but when we return, I'll continue to talk to Chris Mazzei about this horrific ordeal that he and his wife and family are going through. Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Stone Zone. We're talking to my good friend Chris Mazzei. He is facing a relentless case of Lawfare, he and his wife, and has a due date to turn himself in for federal custody on August 20th. Chris, for 18 months, instead of just curling up and accepting this, you've been fighting in every creative way and getting attention to your case, even the way we met, actually. You've been to D.C. a couple times telling your story. I've seen you out there on other media outlets and advocating your family and also other families. All of this, of course, is out of your own pocket, never paying big-time lobbyists or high-priced attorneys. It's interesting. I have advocated for pardons for President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who, make no mistake about it, the former president of Honduras was framed by the Biden administration. He's not a narco trafficker. By the way, there's a 9-part series published at artvoice.com where you can see that. Also, New York police officer Mike McMahon, state legislator and Judge Michelle Fiore in Nevada, Rod Blagojevich, the former governor of Illinois, and of course, Virginia Sheriff Scott Howard Jenkins, never being paid a penny for any of that advocacy. In every case, working on those cases as an advocate, because I believed that those people were abused by the system. That's how I feel about your case. On top of everything, your parents are elderly. You're supporting them as well. What does this possible incarceration mean for your parents' care?
Yeah, so to start off first, and I probably have to apologize because I've been on other programs and I kind of told people how I reached out to you, and I don't know if your Cameo has blown up, but just so people know, I reached out to Roger on Cameo. God, I forget if it was January or February of last year. It was right after Aaron went in. And to the extent of your credit, you denied my Cameo. You didn't even want the $110 or $20, whatever it was. And then you DM'd me with your cell phone number and said, I don't want your money. I want to help you take down these bastards that took down me. So I will back you up on any time anyone says anything negative about you. And I know half the people that you just mentioned, Rod Blagojevich, I've met him multiple times. He's a great guy. And actually Martha Burns and I have been texting a lot, even as of this morning. And you helped her husband as well. My parents, yeah, they, my father, or my stepdad, he's basically in his late stage of dealing with Parkinson's disease, and he actually just spent the past week in the hospital due to complications from it. He's back home, and I'm actually literally at their house right now doing this interview because he needed help getting in the shower. And my mom's, as you mentioned earlier, is 78 years old. She dealing with rheumatoid arthritis and other issues and complications just due to that. They need 24-hour care, and that kind of is on my shoulders right now. We're hopefully this week, Bill Shipley, who I have to actually credit, he just became my lawyer about a month or so ago, and it was actually the help of Cynthia Hughes on that, because all the lawyers before that were just garbage. And Bill is a straight shooter and whatnot, but he hopefully will be filing to try and get me an extension to help me get them situated in my absence, because there's nobody else around here to take care of them. And adding on top of that, my mom's sister just passed away about a couple months ago, and she's got to deal with the estate, selling the house, which once that's done, that will actually help to have them financially a little more secure to get somebody in for helping.
Well, folks, the very best thing we can do right now is to pray. Pray for Chris Mazzei and his wife, Erin.